a key piece of the outdated and limiting beliefs is what I'm believing or what I'm saying, does this align with what makes my heart sing? And does it create a win-win? That's the key piece.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello there, dear Deb. Hello, listeners.
Hi!
Here we are with another deliciously motivating conversation. And we hope that these conversations uplift you and make you feel completely in alignment with who you truly are. How are you doing today, Deb?
Oh, what a beautiful way to introduce it. Listen to you. That's lovely. That's really nice. That's lovely. Yay. I'm great. I'm, although as we talk about where we are, at the start of our call, before we hit live, record, I was definitely a different person.
Mm-hmm.
No, I feel great. We're in winter in New Zealand and the sun is shining into my office, so I definitely can't complain. I'm warm. I've got, beautiful surroundings. Pretty grateful for life, really.
That's awesome. So that's a nice segue into our doing what we like to do before we announce or share with our listeners what we're going to talk about today. We like to check in and do rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 is completely blissed out at Zen, feeling the sun on your face.
Yeah.
And 10 is feeling like, oh my God, I've got to get so many things attended to and dealt with, yada, yada, yada.
That was me yesterday. I'd say I'm a 3.
Good. And so, to be honest with you, that's what I was going to say. I'm at a 3. But
you're such a copycat.
Also, yeah, I had to copy you. What I also wanted to share was, as Deb has mentioned before, we usually talk for about 90 minutes before we hit record.
And then we go, oops.
And then we go, oh, oops, we better start recording something.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is, and I just wanted to share this because coming on to the conversation with Deb today, I would have been putting myself around a 7.5 to 8 because I had a lot of stuff. And then, of course, we sit and talk and heal ourselves and vent and
laugh
and laugh and find the balance that we need. So I would probably
say I've never heard you at a 7 or 8. Today was probably a frazzled more than I've heard you in a long time. Actually, possibly ever, I would say.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, when I think about that, because it was a 7 or 8 where we were,
mm-hmm.
And when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking I don't think I've ever heard Moira be that close to 10.
I told somebody this morning where I was at, and she said she'd never known I could get that irritated, and she said the next time I am, she wants me to video myself. So now that I've fessed up and said that, where would you have put yourself at the beginning when we first started chatting today? Because I know you weren't at a 3 when we first.
No, I would say probably between a 5 and a 6.
Right. So isn't that cool though? It's by our spending time with each other and just sitting and exploring where we're at and letting go of what we needed to. We actually co-facilitated both of us getting down to a 3.
Yeah, and in saying that, I didn't give you any tips on what to do, and you didn't tell me what to do either. It
No.
was just the flow of the conversation and I guess the non-judgment of whatever I say.
Yeah.
Although whatever you say, I usually laugh at.
That's
really?
true. That's pretty
Yeah,
true.
usually, it's pretty true. But there's no what you say, I'm not going to go, oh, Moira, that's naughty.
Absolutely.
Or anything.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think
being heard is such an important part of
being present.
Yeah. Being present, being heard. And oftentimes, and I this is something that's very true for women in particular, is that's how we problem solve, is we just talk things out and we actually problem solve ourselves. So
Bleat, I think we used to call it. Are you bleating again? No, I'm just listening to my own words outside my head.
I just needed to hear what I had to say.
Yeah, how realistic or unrealistic it is.
Yes. But this is it. So listeners, we encourage you to rate yourself now as we're about to go into our topic, and then we're going to just do a wee check-in at the end and see where are you at the end of the conversation. But today we are going to talk about releasing outdated and limiting beliefs, which is beautiful, a beautiful piece about what you just said, Deb, about, if I come to you and say, I'm feeling upset or I'm feeling pissed off about something, an outdated belief might be, I have to fix it. I have to come up with a solution for Moira. I have to point her in the right direction. Do you know
She's
what I mean?
paying me. She's paying me to. Moira's not paying me for the record, by the way, everybody. But she's paying me for me to solve this.
Right. And so therefore I have to be the wise one that comes up with something, and it's not true. Sometimes it is to, like you just said, being present, being a witness. That's actually something that I read somewhere, is that we are actually all being called upon to be a witness to one another.
Yeah, and well, I guess for my old security background too, being a witness can have its pros and cons. When people see stuff and then you say, did you see that? And they go, no, I didn't see a thing. And you're like, hang on, you were literally there. How did you not see it? And they just don't want to, they see it as more, and that's a definitely outdated belief is, okay, I've seen something happen to somebody, so now I just don't ever want to be a witness again because I've got that core belief it's going to take up my time, it's going to take my energy, the whole.
I'll get in trouble. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. What's my cause and effect in this? What role that I played? But definitely the releasing. Yeah. So how do you release that outdated, or maybe when do we know is it outdated? Would be a great one.
Well, to the point.
Well,
and my fingers go up in the air. So we just said that when I first started, I was kind of irritated, and there was things not going quite my way, and I was tired.
Frazzled.
That is a key indicator that, number one, you're not in alignment with your core self, and you're operating on a flawed belief system. Something's not clicking. And so to me, that's got to be one of the biggest things. Like if I keep feeling like I've got to do the same thing over and over again, or I'm getting really tired, or even if I'm having to say the same thing over and over again and the person's not really getting it, then I need to sit down and go, wait a minute, what am I holding on to? What's limiting? What's maybe skewing my perspective and not allowing me to be completely in the alignment? I just keep coming back to that. It's alignment. When things are in flow and we're aligning with our higher self, with our calling, with our heart, then that's smooth. We don't have these limitations and the yeah buts and the that's not working kind of energy, right?
Yeah, and I think our limiting beliefs are really just an awareness. So we say they're limiting, but in reality, it's just about, I know we talked a little bit about being present, being awake, seeing it, and then choosing if you're going to change it or stay on that train. And I look at it like a train, like the wheels are rattling. and you can ignore it. You know, we talked a little bit to you before the call about, you know, ignoring the lessons that come in, you know, and then suddenly, boom, you're stuck.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's it. It's the wheels are rattling. So when the wheels are rattling in the car, or you're on a push bike or a train or whatever, you can hear that rattle, 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 and it gets louder and louder. If you're going to ignore that, what's going to happen is that wheel is going to fall off.
Right.
Clearly. So the limiting belief, and that's that belief that, oh, it'll be right. You know, I grew up and, oh, it'll be right. You can ignore it, it'll be all right. Put a blanket over you, just, you know, ignore it, it'll fix. Well, I'm sorry, that wheel is not going to get fixed if you keep ignoring it. It's just going to rattle, rattle, rattle. So it's those sort of beliefs that are potentially limiting if you ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not going to ignore your beliefs, it's not limiting. It's just going to make you be aware, and then you can change it. But if you hear that rattle and you don't change it, that's definitely a limiting belief.
I really like this analogy that you've used, but because my question as you were saying that was, what I was thinking was, I think that each one of us has our own level, and sometimes it can be patience, sometimes it can be just sheer bloody mindedness of how loud or what, at what volume does that rattle need to get to before you go, oh wait, there's some investigation.
Oh, I've heard this
needed.
before, and last time this happened. Yeah.
So the other part of it is, and it is a perfect analogy, right? To think, for me, I have a really good sense of hearing. So I'm going to hear the slightest little wobble rattle and do something. Whereas people who maybe don't have that discernment or have that awareness or that being in tune with it, absolutely, then they might need to let it get a little bit more loud and might start to wobble the cart a little bit. But then do something about it. Whereas other people, even still, will end up getting to the point where it does fall off completely, and then they go.
And then they go,
then you know it's
damn.
Then you know it's really out of date.
Yeah. Oops.
And got you
put
stuck
the
into
oil
the mud.
on that. Yeah. I think that, and the other thing there is also, today your lesson of hearing that rattle is different to tomorrow's lesson of hearing that rattle.
Exactly.
Because it depends on your food, your energy, what's being thrown at you, what you're catching. You know, when people say things, if your sleep, how much water you've taken, your surroundings, all those things, is today you're going to react differently to tomorrow, and even in an hour's time.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
If you heard that rattle, you know, I know when Moira, we first got on the call, there was a lawnmower around, and I actually heard it for the first time ever. But that's the stuff that could tip you, because you want to do something and the lawnmower's going. But it was actually okay, because we chatted for an hour, for 90 minutes, and I completely forgot about the lawnmower. And then it came, oh, we better record. And then I'm like, oh, the lawnmower. So I heard it and ignored it because it wasn't an issue.
Right.
But if we were on a short time frame, and we know that we don't chat for an hour to 90 minutes before each one, it clearly would have been a problem. And that belief of, oh no, we're on a time frame, but we allow ourselves enough time. And whether that's a belief, but we just know that we now chat for an hour, 90 minutes or whatever beforehand, because there's a lot going on in our lives.
Exactly. We've got to fix things too.
Absolutely. We've got to come to you in a Zen moment. Well, not really, not all the time. But that's a belief as well, is that if we're on if you don't give yourself enough time to drive the car to get to the appointment, and you get, because the traffic's bad, you get cranky at all the traffic, and by the time you've got there, you're really grumpy. That's not everybody else's trouble. And when you go to scream at the persons and they say, oh, we're 10 minutes behind, you're like, well, you could have rang me and told me and I wouldn't have driven like that. No, if you'd left early enough, that's your stuff, not other people's stuff. So it all depends on your surroundings, how you're sleeping. So today's reaction could be different to tomorrow's. It could be different to in an hour's time.
Yep. No, and that's so true, because ultimately we are completely and utterly responsible for everything that's going on around us. And what I mean by that, and this I can,
this is a good one, because this
oh my God.
I'm just going, I'm like, I know that. And people are going, no, I'm not. I'm not responsible for that. Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah, I'm not responsible for all these idiots doing all this stuff, and I'm not responsible for the government doing this, and I'm not responsible for that person doing that. And so here's the thing. You're not, but you are responsible for your reaction and your way of talking about it, looking at it. We actually live in some amazing times to really get this lesson straight for all of us.
This is perfect time.
Isn't it?
Like, listen to me. This is perfect time.
Yeah.
My shoulders went back. It is. This is a perfect time to see what's important to you,
Yep.
to what's going on and how you react to stuff.
That's right. And then even if you feel that, and that's going to change moment by moment, day by day, based on what you were just saying too, right? How well have you been looking after yourself? What how much sleep did you have? How well are you eating? Are you hydrated? Have you grounded yourself today? All of these pieces are the key piece here is to think of yourself as the microcosm of the macrocosm. And what I mean by that is internally, if you see outside of yourself stuff that pisses you off or makes you think that's not okay, that's dreadful, look at all these people doing this. In order for you to see that, you have a similar environment going on inside. That's what I'm talking about, the microcosm. So when you see something going on outside of you, like the wobbly wheel that we were just talking about, or the things that you might not like in the headlines or in the government or on Facebook or wherever it is, then sit with it and look at what is the environment within me that's creating that as being something I don't want to look at or be with. What limitation, what outdated or limiting belief is creating me thinking it's got nothing to do with me, it's all these idiots out here. Right?
Yeah.
Because this is how we can actually heal the entire planet, is by looking at everything that causes us discomfort or upset. We get to do it inside, internally. Turn the view back into you. And if we could all do that, can you imagine the magic we would start to see around us?
Absolutely. And I think I love the way you said it, because we can collaborate. We can collaborate if we choose, or we can do it alone. And I think that's the other thing here is your limiting belief, Moira, could be different to my limiting belief, could be different to every person, and most probably it will be. Absolutely. Every other person on the call, and every day is different, like we say, but we can all collaborate and put ourselves together to actually go, okay, what can we do to shift this? And anytime you feel somebody react, or you react to you, that's part of their limiting belief.
That's right.
And that's the thing that it's important for us to remember, is that they have their own limiting beliefs that they can throw or shoot from the hip to you, and it's up to you whether you dodge it, get it hit, assess it, and then break it. I'm thinking of an arrow, break it and then carry on.
Right.
Because it's all about our choices.
Absolutely. And that's what I talk about, what I meant when I said our responsibility, because that is where our ability to shape our reality is, through what choices are you making.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people will say to me, oh, I made a choice and it was the wrong thing, or I went down the wrong path, or it screwed up or something, and so therefore I can't make it, I don't trust myself. The thing is that you actually don't ever make the wrong choices, but to choose not to make a choice is still making a choice.
Yeah, that's and that's I'm going to say the word ignorant, or the more you ignore.
Yes. Ignoring.
And so we say hide under the blanket. Mm-hmm. And I say to people, if you want to hide under the blanket, that's go for it. But instead of it being a blanket, put it down to a washcloth, so it's a very small one, so you can't really hide completely. Like if you like your blankie, then just move it to a small washcloth so it's a little bit you can hide from, because in reality you're going to have to deal with it sooner or later. Because we know that the wheels do fall off.
That's right. And I don't know about you, but I'm much more into dealing with something that I could deal with from the washcloth perspective, or it takes me half an hour to deal with it, as opposed to ignoring something and needing to keep going, and that's it. I've derailed myself for the entire day.
Yeah.
In order to fix it.
And that's it. And just know that if you can only spend 2 minutes to do it, and I think that's the key here again, is it doesn't matter how long it takes you. If you can only have 2 minutes, then do 2 minutes, but know that you're going to deal with it. But the more time you invest in yourself, the greater your levels of worth, evolution, healthy, feed your soul, the more fulfilled you're going to be in life instead of staying stuck in that mud.
Absolutely. And I like what you just said, because I was just realizing that sometimes if you visit or access some kind of belief or mindset piece that's talking about lack or limitation or things are not going right, you may not have the space and the time to sit and really fully unearth and get to the roots of what it is that's going on. What is that? Where is the roots of those outdated beliefs? Because we want to pull them out by the root. We don't want to just kind of go, and
break it off. Yeah.
Just snap it off. Yeah,
I'll just pull this.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
So you don't necessarily, this is not about getting into it, it's because this happened or this happened. That's not the point. The point is to trust yourself that you are going to get laser focused on, I'm going to zap it at the root. You don't need to know the story, but your intention is good enough to actually get it to the root. Now, if you're in the middle of doing a presentation and something comes up that you realize, oh gosh, this is a belief I need to sit and unhook or check in. Is it a limiting thing, or is it something that's serving me? Is this something that I need to break apart and release? If you're in an environment where you can't, like Deb just said, you take a minute or two. I like to do a little technique where I take the tips of my 2 fingers and I just gently rub on my forehead, or I tap gently on my forehead. And that to me is just an anchor to say, I got the idea. I hear you.
I'll deal with it later.
I'll deal with it later. And then you go, when you create some time for yourself to, go sit in your car, go lock yourself in the bathroom, do whatever you need to do to just come present to yourself. And because these outdated and limiting beliefs, they're going to be released through your own compassion, not from I suck because I carried this belief from when I was 5 years old.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important one, because I've been brought up on the build a bridge, get over it.
Yes.
Type stuff, and I'm now in my 30s, 40s, and I used to build a bridge and get over it. And there's moments that I will hear myself go, "Oh, build a bridge, get over it," and I'm like, "No, actually, no, I'm not going to build a bridge, get over it. I'm actually going to assess each brick I put in place to build that bridge and move forward."
Yeah.
And instead of having that stuff, and we do. Yeah, it's interesting what our beliefs are, and it's only usually when somebody, like when your physical happens, definitely, but when somebody says something to you and you just feel like it's an attack and you're like, whoa, was I being unrealistic in my expectation from that person? And that's it. Our other thing is, my expectation is if I pay for a service, I get a service of that quality. Right. It doesn't necessarily mean I need to pay lots of money to get a high quality, but If I put that energy in for something, I get that energy back, and this is something. The other thing is, when you pay for a service, you expect a little bit more than getting something free. But that's my belief. That's my belief, not anyone else's who says that's what it has to be or not. Because, when people get things for free, they don't value it as much.
That's right.
And that's been a belief that I have had, because I also know for myself, when people have given me stuff for free, I don't value it. I don't do it. I don't do what they say. But when you pay and you have to give your right kidney for it, you do the work. You do it more. But
Absolutely.
not all the times does that happen.
Not all the times, because the thing that was coming to mind as you were describing that, and I agree with you that if you don't pay for something, you don't necessarily value it to the same degree. But it doesn't always have to be money exchange. I think that if it was a swap of equitable services,
fair exchange, yes.
Yeah, fair exchange. And so it's like both parties have something as with equality invested into what's going on. So like I said, it doesn't always have to be money, but it does have to be a fair exchange. That way then, because and I've done that kind of thing before, that I'm fully invested if what I'm giving is this the same or sometimes higher value than what I'm getting. Right?
And well, that's my limiting belief. That's I'm not going to say a limiting belief. I'm going to say that's my belief. But when I feel that come up, I then just self-assess, and it just takes me a couple of seconds to go, is this true? Do I feel this in this one? No, it's an old belief. Okay, done. Or an outdated belief. Is this something? But it allows me to hold, I'm going to hold on to that belief, because it makes me assess each one individually and differently.
And that's perfect. So you've just shared with us that is the best way to do it, is that everything, beliefs are our drivers, right? Beliefs are the things that make us choose different colors or make us ascribe to different groups, sign up for this course and don't sign up for that, or align ourselves with one group and not with another. It's actually being fueled by our own beliefs. So it's not fair to say all beliefs are limiting beliefs, because they're not. There are a lot of beliefs that serve us well. It's that pause, like you just said, is to do the assessing. That's the critical part, because that's helping you stay present to say, am I working on an out-of-date, outmoded way of being? Or is this true to the environment and the situation and the players that are involved, kind of thing?
And knowing every situation is different.
Absolutely.
And that's one that we go, oh, last time this is really easy to do, or last time I had this problem, but every situation is different. And I go back to that sleeping and your surroundings and what you've eaten and what's gone on that day, etc. Any of that stuff. Yeah. And that's our crutch of it is.
Absolutely. And so that's how come we have to have that little pause to check in and assess. Is this, are these words I'm about to say, is this yes or no that I'm about to give, is this grounded in the truth of what I'm in right now, right here, right now? Or have I let some little component of me, so actually I'm reading a book right now, and I can't remember what the name of the book is, but it's talking all about sub-personalities. And so these sub-personalities...
that's definitely beliefs.
Yes, but these sub-personalities can actually operate without us and even engaging in them. And so that's why it's so important to pause and say, is this some out-of-date piece of me, some little saboteur part? So like an example of that would be, a lot of people talk about people pleasing. So people pleaser would be a sub-personality, right?
Yeah.
But that's going to have come somewhere. So for myself, I did do, it's still there for me, people pleasing, but people pleasing kept me safe as a child because my father would get really angry. And so my go-to belief was if dad was happy, then he wasn't going to get angry at me.
Mm-hmm.
So then that translates into this sub-personality. To keep me safe, I have to keep everybody happy around me. Well, I need to be happy first. Right? So there's where I need to say that's, I acknowledge that's a pattern that can happen, but it doesn't serve me now.
And that's where people quote, and my fingers are in the air, so is that people go, oh, you're selfish.
Right. Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not selfish. I've just chosen I can do this. Yeah, and that's that other stuff is their belief that they're trying to, use the bow and arrow at you.
To push over onto you. Absolutely. And this is an area that this is really upsets me because we have to be selfish. Remember, earlier I was talking about the microcosm and the macrocosm thing.
Yeah.
So to the degree that I look after myself is actually the same degree that I can be of service to other people. So if I say, oh no, I can't do that. I can't take a day off, or I can't go and meditate for an hour before I start doing something. I can't do any of that because these people are more important. Then I've depleted myself. And now I can only help people to that depleted level. This is why it's so, so important to check in with beliefs. I think we all have stories that we can tell about, oh, that's selfish. I need to go and look after so-and-so before I, go get my nails done, or sit and read a book just for the hell of it, kind of thing.
And I was just going to say, even when you talked about getting your nails done, envy and jealousy comes up because people go, oh, you've got money to go do that, or you can go do that. You've got the luxury, and you're like, no, it's important to me. So I would rather have water all day and go without food for a day and get my nails done. I don't. But and that's that other stuff, and that's people firing from their hip again at you, and it's whether you just go no, because that is their belief, that is their
exactly right.
Their core of what they believe in. So it's not I think of Wonder Woman. You know how she has those I'm putting my hands up in the air, those wristbands where she just goes kapow, kapow when people used to throw stuff at her,
Yeah, so we should do that with other people's stuff. I like it.
That's exactly it. It's just like kapow. No, you're not landing on me because that's your stuff, not mine.
Yeah.
If I want to get my nails done, and they look amazing today, they do. If I want to get my nails done, I'm going to spend my money to get my nails done because that's important for me. But when you say it's not, and you've got lucky, you've got money or whatever, that's your stuff, not mine. Absolutely. You have other things, and so it's just being aware of kapow.
That's how you get rid of judgments from other people.
Yeah. I think I might go to a jeweler and get a design of some jewelry. Kapow.
You put your logo on these amulets, armlets.
Yeah. Deliciously motivated mindset. Kapow. You're not getting to me. But that's exactly it. And that's what it looks like. And it's other people's belief that's limiting them, that they throw at you. That's where the jealousy and the envy comes in.
And this is something that I've been talking a lot about over the last couple of months, is that I think we are all being guided into becoming very emotionally resilient. And so that means other people's beliefs or other people's opinions are none of my business. It's got nothing to do with me. I am emotionally resilient and operating from my own beliefs. And we all do walk around with limiting beliefs and carry things on that don't work anymore. So that we can only unearth them by being really present to, is this story that I'm telling myself serving the best version of me? Right.
And I think that's a real key one. Is this serving the best of me right now? Like, is this so important right now that this is giving me the best I can?
Yeah.
Knowing that tomorrow it might be different, of course, because your surroundings, but right here, right now. And I really love the tapping of the forehead, because that's just like, I've got it.
Yep.
I'll deal with you later,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, you could be doing something. So when we talk about releasing outdated limiting beliefs, the reason I believe we say outdated is because it no longer serves us.
That's right. And it did at some point.
That's the thing. The thing is, it did, because it got us somewhere where we are, that now we're ready to not tap on our forehead, but actually be aware, I'm going to deal with this, and deal with it, or tap, but I'm aware of it now. And that's why it's been outdated, because it's been parked enough that the wheels are wobbling and creaking, that we're going to be dealing with it.
Absolutely. But the other part of that too is that outdated belief may have come about because you were in a different space of your own evolution. You're in a different environment. You're with, like I was saying about the people pleaser in me, that was when I was a child. I'm not a child by any stretch of the imagination now.
But if we were to say, quotations in the air, fingers in the air, people pleaser, you are a people pleaser still, when you pick and choose, but you also, you're a people pleaser because you serve in a different way.
That's right.
So you can't get rid of the people pleaser. I just want to reframe that for people. You can't get rid of the people pleaser, and it's not a bad thing. But right now, you please people by doing podcasts. You do, your shows, your videos. You heal people doing. So you're people pleasing in a different form than what you do, because you can't get rid of anything. Nope. It's just reframed or repackaged or rebranded, or just looks differently now.
That's beautifully said. And it actually is in alignment with what I call taking authorship for your life. So when we talk about people pleasing, that's putting me at the bottom of my own list. Whereas when I embody and recognize that's part of my makeup, that's my purpose, that's my calling. But when I put me to the top of my priority list, I get to do this people pleasing and being of service at much higher level. And it feeds people that I come into contact. It feeds people's soul and mine. So it's such a huge win-win. And so here's something that's really important. Here's my fingers going up in the air again.
The finger comes out. Da, 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 da.
Is a key piece of the outdated and limiting beliefs is what I'm believing or what I'm saying, does this align with what makes my heart sing? And does it create a win-win? That's the key piece. If it doesn't create a win-win, where's the limitation? There's got to be a limitation somewhere. So then you get to let it go and say, thank you. In the environment I'm in now, I'm only going to work with win-win, right?
And I think we forget there's a win-win. It's not a win-lose. It's a win-win all the way.
Yeah.
You might be able to hear my
dogs. The dogs agree. They want to have a win-win.
Yeah, they want to have a win-win. So love these outdated beliefs, because they have made you aware. And it's all about awareness. It's all about awareness. And then you can pick and choose. But if those wheels on that train are creaking and wobbling, don't leave it too long.
That's right.
Tap your forehead or find a space. Shower. I love the shower. For me,
yeah, I do too.
Find a space.
Shower for me too.
Yeah, because you're away from everybody.
Well, you've got the healing.
Maybe.
Well, you've got the healing of water, and that's very emotionally balancing, very zen for me, very much so. Awesome conversation, my dear Deb. I always are. So, and one more thing I was going to say to our listeners, if you have issues or areas where you're feeling blocked or stuck, please do make sure and reach out to myself or to Deb or both of us, because we're here to help and inspire you to let go of everything that doesn't serve the highest and best version of you.
Yes. I'm just thinking that it's these limiting beliefs, and this is where your weight comes from. your physical, you know, if you're putting on
Absolutely.
weight, you know, reach out to us, because this is a limiting belief that you've got in there. There's a core crutch of something in there that's making you do those things.
Yep, absolutely.
So please reach out, because we are just a message away.
Absolutely. Awesome stuff. So, my dear Deb's going to roll us out of this conversation.
Am I? Okay, so I was just going, what number am I? Okay, so Moira, thank you. Okay, Moira and the listeners, thank you for today. What would you rate yourself at after this call?
So after this, I'm going to put myself at 1.5. Oh, she's going to do it. That's fun.
I was just writing that down, because I'm going to go to prove you that I'm not going to. Yeah, I would have said a 2. And then when you said roll it out, I went, oh, wow. 2, it's not a 2, it's a 1.5. And so I feel, apart from the dogs that gave me a heck of a fright, and I think I might have pinched a nerve in my back as I jumped up and sat up. I haven't really, but it gave me a bit of a fright. I'm going to say a 1.5, because, and even if you move just half a number, people, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Absolutely.
And if you move 1 or more, let us know. Put the numbers. You know, even I suggest you put the numbers at the start of the call, and then put the number at the end, so we know where you've moved to.
Yep, it's just such a beautiful self-assessment too, to get some insight into what's going on for you.
And even when you wake up in the morning, assess your day. You know, when you wake up and how you've slept. You know, where are you on a 1 to 10 scale? Yep. But please reach out to us. We are just a message away. If you've got anything you'd love us to cover, we have a long list of. We can just do this all the time. If you'd like us to go daily, no, Moira's just rolling her eyes. She's not really. But if you'd like more of what we do, let us know. But thank you for joining us, everybody, and Deliciously Motivated Mindset with Debz and Moira. We will talk to you next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Moira.
everybody. Thanks, Debz. Thanks, listeners. Bye.